Today I will be discussing Miss Frida Kahlo and her life, her journey, and specifically one of her works of art named The Broken Column. It's one of her more well known pieces, and here we go. Frida Kahlo was a Mexican born artist. She was born in 1906. Kahlo's work consisted of surrealism, cubism, modern art, symbolism, and magical realism. Although she didn't consider herself a surrealist, a lot of people named her that or labeled her that. She always said that she never saw herself as a surrealist and would say that she never explored the dream work in her artwork. It was her own lived reality. In 1925, Frida Kahlo suffered a horrific accident. A car bus collision left Kahlo impaled by a street handrail. Kahlo sustained major spinal and pelvis injuries. Throughout her life, she was in constant physical pain, emotional pain due to her being unable to bear children, constant physical pain, constantly going into surgeries to get other things fixed, whether it was her leg. Later on in life, she ended up having to get her leg amputated. Most of her time was spent alone because of her disability and the fact that she was in constant pain. She spent long periods of time alone. Kahlo's art is an expression of her solitude, pain, and emotion. One of the things seen in Kahlo's artwork is symbolism. Symbolism is art that reflects an emotion, feeling, and the reality that inners the artist's inner subjectivity. Most symbolism is mostly expressed through realism and impressionism in art. Another technique that Frida Kahlo used in her artwork was magical realism. This is a technique used that was used as a reaction against modern and avant-garde artworks. Artists use this art form to relay messages through dreamlike depictions of surrealism. In these following artworks by Frida Kahlo, you kind of see that the colors that she's using are kind of like dreamy colors, like blues, hues of blues and greens. And she used a lot of animals in her artwork, as well as representations of her Mexican heritage. In the photo here on the left, the two Fridas, she shows like this cloudy background. So it kind of feels like an unconscious moment in time. Like she's in a dream state and she's torn between the two people that she is. Like it's basically expressing her struggle with her identity. The last one to the right is the broken column where she is kind of exposing herself. She's showing herself in her most vulnerable state and she's like broken, and this column that's all broken in the middle of her is what's keeping her held up, and you can see the tears running from her face. Like it shows the pain that she feels. If you look closely, you can see all the nails, and from what we know, Frida Kahlo had a bunch of screws put into her body to keep her spine um, still. The broken column was a great example of self expressionism. You can feel the physical pain Kahlo is subjected to for the rest of her life caused by her disabilities. The emotional intensity and imaginative scope of pictures is what led Kahlo to be labeled a surrealist. The artist is exposing herself to the audience at her most vulnerable state. A lot of Frida Kahlo's artwork consisted of her inability to bear a child, her turbulent relationship with her husband. They would get married, they would get divorced, they would get married. They had infidelities, they had extramarital affairs. Frida Kahlo was known to be bisexual, so she did date women and men. That was another thing that hindered her marriage. Also, it is said that both her and her husband had very strong characters and very hot tempers, so they would argue a lot to the point where they didn't want to be in each other's presence. Frida Kahlo unfortunately died in 1954 of a pulmonary embolism. Kahlo's last entry in her diary read, I hope the exit is joyful. I hope never to return. A lot of people have their own interpretation of what that last passage meant in her diary, but it also shows the intensity behind her pain, behind the life that she was given, like the way that her body failed her, the way that that accident caused her to be unable to do a lot of things in her life. She constantly struggled with pain management and being able to live a normal life aside from all the multitude of disabilities that she had, and to the point where she's saying, I hope to never to return. That's how much pain she was in, that she doesn't want to have to endure this all over again. But you can see that and you can feel that in her artwork. You can feel the pain. You can connect to her, kind of like to the point where you can place yourself in her shoes, like, wow, this is what this person went through. And that is the life and story of Frida Kahlo. Thank you.